Good morning, everyone. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Botond from Hungary. I'm Grant from California. It's morning here. You know the deal. It's night over there. We got a lot to talk about. We were going to talk about Stafford, and we will, but it's Kirk Cousins Day. If you haven't heard, the report is that if the Vikings were to make Kirk Cousins available, the Niners are expected to push extremely hard. It's not been reported by anyone from NFL Network or ESPN, but it's like as soon as someone said it, it's like, well, yeah, of course. So what do you think about this development in as the world turns at quarterback for the 49ers?
First of all, what's up, everyone? I hope that everything is all right in the US right now. Sadly, I cannot say that about Hungary, but it's all right. Well, you all know that I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins. And just imagine the picture, Kirk Cousins and Mike McGlinchey on the field in the same time, all those toxic auras coming together, making some huge disappointments next season. Well, we all know that Kirk is the true love of Kyle Shanahan, and I'm pretty sure that if there's a chance to sign Kirk Cousins, we will sign Kirk Cousins. But I couldn't say that it makes me happy at all.
It's not the most exciting move, Botan. I mean,
no.
The Niners would go from having the worst quarterback in the NFC West to still having the worst quarterback in the NFC West. But he's better than Jimmy. I mean, can we agree on that? He's better than Jimmy?
Are you really sure that he's better than Jimmy?
Okay, let me make the case that Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy. He doesn't get hurt as much. He probably has a stronger arm and is more mobile than Jimmy is now. Not necessarily what Jimmy was before the ACL. That's all I got. That's all I got. I mean, Jimmy has a better record in pressurized primetime games.
Well, we all have seen that Kirk Cousins gets extremely frustrated when he cannot play the game as he likes, when he got pressure and other things like that. I just couldn't imagine how the Niners can be better with Kirk Cousins, especially with this offensive line that we have right now. Just imagine those new widths that Kirk Cousins went into the players' room, and he says to the reporters that, "You still like that? You like that?" Nope, I don't like that. I don't like the idea at all to get Kirk Cousins.
Well, hold on. Let me try to keep making the case for it because it's probably going to happen. Here's what I think the Niners are thinking. He would be cheaper than Jimmy Garoppolo this year. They would actually save money on the deal this year. Now, next year, Cousins would cost them $35 million. I don't know what the plan would be there. Don't you get the feeling if the Niners were to trade for Kirk Cousins, they would give him like a lifetime extension? They would just sign him till he's 50 years old. I kind of get that.
They will do that, and Kirk will be here until Kyle Shanahan is here. And just prepare, guys, because Kyle is going to be here for a long, long time. And if we sign Kirk Cousins, then it's the same with him.
Yeah, they will have matching lifetime contracts.
Yep.
So here's the thing. I actually think Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy. I've been saying it since last year. Not by a lot, but I think Kirk Cousins is better than him. I would trade Jimmy Garoppolo for Kirk Cousins straight up. Now, I don't think the Vikings would be interested in that move.
Nope.
So what exactly would it cost the Niners to get Kirk freaking Cousins?
After that Stafford trade? Well, I don't know. A first rounder and maybe a second rounder as well, and a skill position player, or a third rounder additionally.
Well, now here's the thing people need to know is that this trade probably wouldn't be able to go down until after June 1 because the Vikings would save a ton of money by waiting that long. I think a lot of quarterbacks are going to move after June 1. So when he picks the Niners traded in this deal would be 2022, 2023. They would save their picks this year. Still, a first and a second for Kirk Cousins, who's like almost, 33, 34? No.
That's what happened. It's just because the freaking Los Angeles Rams, that's why it's going to happen.
They screwed the market up?
Yep. I do think that.
So hold on. Let's talk. We'll go Stafford right now. But before we go to wrap up the Cousins topic, then we expect the Niners to be interested. We expect them to overpay because Kyle Shanahan loves him, and we expect the price to go up because of what Stafford did. Kyle, if you're watching, don't make a huge mistake here. We know you like Kirk Cousins. He is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not worth whatever picks you want to send and whatever extension you want to give him. He's just not that good. He's, Matthew Stafford minus 20 pounds of beer weight is what I would think. Maybe that. A little less pudgy around the jowls. So let's go Stafford. Did the Rams mess up trading for Matthew Stafford?
Partly, yes. But I do think that we have to discuss this in depth. So first of all, there's Sean McVay and the whole front office of the Rams, who gave a huge contract to Jared Goff, who just messed up with McVay. And they have to find somebody. They have to find somebody who was the reason why they were bad. And of course, it was Jared Goff as well. But Jared Goff just couldn't give himself that huge contract that he got some years ago. And after that happened, they all knew that there's all the talent in the Rams to be at least playoff contenders, but more likely Super Bowl contenders besides of Jared Goff. After that, they traded Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford and some huge picks, 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and Jared Goff. I do think that part of the deal is that the Rams must give up some picks because of the huge contract that Jared Goff has right now. But the greatest part of this trade is that Sean McVay and the general manager of the Rams are in huge trouble right now.
Yeah.
I do think that. And they thought that they must have an at least above average quarterback, but more likely an elite quarterback to sign. And that's Matthew Stafford. But if they still mess up with Matthew Stafford in the next few seasons, then Sean McVay couldn't keep his job in the future.
Well, the way I look at it is Matthew Stafford is not an elite quarterback. They might think he's elite. He's not elite. They talking themselves into him being better than he is. They're thinking, oh, well, in my system, he'll be great. No, he'll still be Matthew Stafford, but he'll have a better running game. Did the Rams mess up trading for him? I think they kind of put themselves in this position. They have no future. They have no draft picks. Once Aaron Donald retires, that team's going to stink. And they seem like they were stuck with Jared Goff. This seemed like this is almost more to get rid of Goff than to get Stafford. Now, there's been a lot of reports recently that Goff had a trade market and a lot of teams wanted him, and maybe Sean McVay was the problem. That's clearly, in my opinion, Goff's agent working overtime to pump up his client, because if he doesn't do that, no one's ever going to want that agent again, because Goff right now looks like the least popular player in the NFL.
Yep.
Anyway,
right now he is.
So what they did was they created a problem when they traded up for Goff. They made the problem worse when they gave Goff that ridiculous contract. And then to fix that problem, they had to create a new problem by trading 2 firsts and a third for Matthew Stafford. So now they're in this position where, do they extend him? You just traded 2 firsts and a third after trading all those picks to get Goff. So now you're 9 picks deep. And what you have is Stafford at 33. Are you going to extend his contract? If you do, now you're back in the situation you were in with Goff, where you're paying too much money for a quarterback who's not elite. If you don't, you've just thrown 9 picks at a position that you're going to let at a guy you're going to let walk in 2 years. And now you have all those picks for what? 2 years of Stafford? They're in a terrible situation one way or another. Plus, Botan, Stafford will cost them $20 million this year. Goff still costs them $22 million because of the dead cap. So they're paying $42 million for quarterbacks this year, one of which isn't on their team. They have no chance to win the Super Bowl, paying all that money to the quarterback. No chance. So maybe in 2022, but not this year. I don't know what they're doing. And I agree. I think McVay's gone in a few years. He's signed through 2023. That roster and that team is going to be Siberia in 3 years. He'll be gone. Maybe probably by his own choice.
And the other hand, that they signed Matthew Stafford, who stands out with his deep balls. But is there a deep threat in that Rams offense?
No. It's a slow offense.
Yeah, so you couldn't just build up on the greatest strength of your quarterback just because you don't have the talent pool to use him. So It's a poor decision. And on the other hand, and which makes me really angry, is that they built up the price of the quarterbacks this year.
Should we talk about that? What is the price of quarterbacks after the Stafford trade?
Well, it's ridiculously high. It's
ridiculously high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's higher than ever was, I think. I just can't imagine after that trade, how many picks does the Texans want for example, Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, a quarterback who's actually elite.
Yeah, or Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
4 or 5 first and second rounders.
Yeah.
What the heck? What will happen? I'm just curious, and I do think that the Rams just made the QB market upside down right now, and I just can't imagine how things will happen after this. But I do think that after this move, all the rookie quarterbacks who will come into the draft this year will be more used and more picked by teams who we were expecting to trade for a veteran quarterback.
I see. You'll see him pivot, be like, we can't afford these guys. I'm not going to trade 8 first-round picks for Sam Darnold. I'm just going to draft Zach Wilson. Yeah, I can see that. It just seems like the Rams really, kind of screwed over every team. Like they put the price way too high, and now all these agents are going to hold out, or teams are going to hold out for, well, if 33-year-old Stafford brings back 2 firsts, then why wouldn't 33-year-old Cousins bring back 2 firsts? Cousins' numbers are better than Stafford's, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are.
The thing is that this move makes me so confused about the market right now, because I did think that I know what will happen, or at least I have a clue what will happen in this offseason. But right now, I'm just sitting here watching the news, reading the news, and I just can't say that I know I have any clue what is going to happen.
Well, hold on, real quick. I think that what's going on here with the Rams is, they gave up 2 firsts and a third, but part of that was to get the Lions to take Goff's contract. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care. Part of that was to get the Lions to take Goff's contract. There's no way you can convince me that the Lions really wanted him in that deal. So I think it's possible that teams around the league look at quarterbacks and think, well, yeah, the Rams gave up a lot, but part of that was to get rid of Goff. And if the Vikings really think they're going to get 2 firsts and a third for Kirk Cousins, they're crazy. They're crazy. What do you think he'll go for? Honestly, what do you think they can get for him? You think they can get any first-round picks for Kirk Cousins? Any?
I do think that they will get a first-rounder for Kirk Cousins right now.
Would you, if you were GM of any team, would you send a first-round pick for Kirk Cousins?
No freaking way.
No freaking way. Why would you do that? Ugh, that's not exciting. I mean, I feel like your fans, as soon as you trade for Kirk Cousins, they want you fired. No one wants Kirk Cousins. The Vikings don't want Kirk Cousins. He's the least popular quarterback in the league. Something about him, I don't know what it is. Could be his face. Could be his personality. Could be the way he plays quarterback, or a combination of the 3. But all I know is the minute the Niners make that deal, Kyle Shanahan's going to lose a lot of trust and goodwill from the fan base. They're going to be like, all right, man. You say it's going to work. Fine, let's see. And the minute it doesn't, I want you gone.
That's for sure. Right now, I'm like, if we are going to sign Kirk Cousins, I'm just going to sit back next season, watching games and thinking about why I am rooting for this team right now, with all these things, with Mike McGlinchey, with that terrible decision of Kyle Shanahan, with Kirk Cousins. I just think
it's so funny that people have been watching these college quarterbacks like, oh, look at Trey Lance and Justin Fields. I think Kyle Shanahan has evolved and is going to want a quarterback like this. No, he still wants Kirk Cousins. Nothing has changed.
Nope.
All right, so Tobin has a Jimmy G question, which will take us to our Jimmy G topic. Grant, you guys really think we're trading Jimmy this offseason? Is it irreconcilable? Kirk Cousins? Put Cousins to the side for a second. What is Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value right now, in your opinion? Botan.
Well, if Kirk Cousins worth a first-round pick, then I do think that Jimmy Garoppolo worth a second-rounder at least, or a second and the fourth-rounder.
Okay, let me make the case to you that he has zero trade value, and tell me what you think.
Yep.
And again, it's going to come back to the contract. A guy like Stafford, a guy like Cousins, they sign these contracts with big signing bonuses, and what that means is they're too expensive for their current team, but they're way cheaper for another team if they're traded because the current team keeps the prorated bonus, the new team doesn't. Jimmy's contract isn't structured that way. He had a very small signing bonus. He had a big roster bonus in year one, and the purpose of structuring that way allows the Niners to cut him if they want with no dead money. And they liked that. They wanted that structure, but it backfired on him now because he's not cheaper for another team if they trade him. There's like $1.4 million in prorated bonus in his deal. So for the Niners, he cost $26.4 million in 2021. On the next team, if the Niners traded him, he cost $25. And $25 million in 2021 is 13.9% of the salary cap. It's way too high for Jimmy Garoppolo. So the only team that'd be cool paying him all that money is a team that knows they're not going to contend, knows it, like Detroit. You know, Detroit brings in Jared Goff, pays him $25 million a year. It's like, well, who cares? We're not going to win anytime soon. Fine, let's just take the picks and worry about the future. So, I guess Jimmy Garoppolo has trade value in that sense if you're looking at teams like Atlanta or something. I don't know. But really, I don't think any team that thinks that they have a chance to win is going to look at Jimmy and that contract and be like, yeah, let me give you something for that. I want that.
Well,
what do you think?
I do think that if we are going to trade him and if there's somebody who will give up picks for Jimmy Garoppolo, they will just reconstruct that huge contract into something else. Of course, they will not save as much money as got
to do that. That's the thing. You got to give him the extension to make him more affordable, but he's had these injuries. Our team's going to be excited to give him the extension. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you know what? You know that I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Garoppolo. But I do think that with a better training staff and with a better medical staff
and a better O-line, better right tackle,
he can be at least a trusted quarterback for a new team.
He can be Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he can be a Kirk Cousins. But of course, Kirk Cousins with a much better mentality.
And a much better jawline, just a better looking face. Yeah, no question. And a better personality. People seem to like Jimmy in a way that no one seems to like Kirk Cousins.
It's way easier to like someone who doesn't talk too much and who not says that it's because of the O-line, it's because the coach, who is not searching for things to wash his hands. Because that's true about Jimmy, that whenever he was bad, he said that he was bad. He said that he needs to play better. And he is not like Kirk Cousins or Mike McGlinchey.
It's true.
To say names. That's why I do think that Jimmy somehow has more value than for example, Kirk Cousins. Because he is way more sellable. You can easier sell him to other people.
You're right. Well, then again, I come back to what I said earlier in the show. I would trade Jimmy Garoppolo straight up for Kirk Cousins. I don't like the idea of trading any draft picks for Kirk Cousins or not a first, not a second, not really even a third. He's not that great. He's not that great. My voice still cracks at 33 years old. It's ridiculous. He's not that great.
Yep.
Trade Jimmy for him. Sure. Let Jimmy get fresh start somewhere else. Let Cousins get a fresh start somewhere else. That's fine. That's fine by me. That is fine by me. But anything more than that, I'm not that excited. Just draft a guy and get it right. You know? All right. I'm going to talk with a very deep voice the rest of the show. Do the 49ers have a chance to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo on board?
Well, you said that before that he earns a lot of money if we are going to keep him. 25 million, if I remember well.
26.6 for the 26.4 for the Niners. Yeah, it's way too much. It's 14.8% of the cap. The answer is no. They can't win a Super Bowl with him making that money. No, they couldn't. They couldn't win a Super Bowl with him making 8.6%.
Yep,
they came close, but they couldn't do it.
Yep, we talked about it before. This roster right now has a lot of holes, especially on the offensive line, and we all knew that the offensive line players aren't coming to any franchise cheap if we want to have an at least good O-line, because right now what we have is straight trash. I can't just say anything good about that. So if we are going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, there's no way, because if we are going to keep him, there's no way that we can sign anybody else who is at least great. For example, a reliable left tackle.
Goldblooded says, what's up with all this lateral move talk? Like, why are you trying to move Jimmy for a lateral move in Kirk? Because it's not just about the player in football. It's about the player in the contract. It's a salary cap league. It's not baseball. It's not soccer. And as we're telling you right now, the only reason to bring back Jimmy would be, well, you think we can win with Jimmy. We've shown we can win with Jimmy. Like, you can't win with Jimmy making this much money. It's not going to happen. And you know what? The Niners know it. They know it. Parag Marath understands the cap. He understands that you can't pay one player that percentage of your cap and win a Super Bowl. It's never been done. It's never been done before. I said it a million times. 13.1%, the highest it's ever been done. That was 94 with Steve Young. As long as Tom Brady's making 12%, Jimmy ain't going to win making 14.8. As long as there's a guy like Josh Allen making 2.5% in Buffalo, he's not going to win. And the Niners know that. So by getting rid of Jimmy and bringing in Kirk at $21 million, now at least they have a chance next year. Not a good chance, but a chance. That's why, because you know what? The Niners don't want to just bring back Jimmy to appease fans and know deep down inside they have zero chance to win a Super Bowl. They're not going to do that. That's why this is happening. Right?
Yep. That's so true. That's true.
They know they have no chance. It's over. The window with Jimmy is closed. It's over. They got to move on. It's because of the contract. We got some questions real quick, though. Jimmy will be healthy all year and take us back to the playoffs. A confident, not injured Jimmy is a good quarterback. When he loses the confidence, he's trash. Just as everyone said, Jimmy is better than Kirk. Yeah, they might take him back to the playoffs, but that's it. They'll lose in the first round, maybe the second.
I don't think that we can win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest.
That's all that matters. Do you think McFloppy will pass block better if he was blocking for his cousin, Matt Ryan? Yeah, I think they wouldn't allow him at the family reunions if he gave up sacks on Matt Ryan.
Yep,
I do think
that. I do think that, and I do think that Matt would just say that, you know what, Mike? You bad. At least try to play better or something like that.
No, I think it's a legit question. I think there's a total leadership void on offense. It was Staley, and to a lesser extent, it was Sanders. And now the leader on offense is who? George Kittle? Yep. I like George Kittle. He's a character, but he's not really a leader. I don't really think he's calling every player up, holding them accountable for what they did in practice or how they lifted that day. That's Staley. There's no one like that on this offense. Matt Ryan's that way. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't.
Not a leader. Jimmy was never a leader of this team. They said that he is a leader, that he is their quarterbacks, that he made them win games. But the truth is that Jimmy was never a leader. He just don't have that leadership. And you know what? I don't think that Matt Ryan has that leadership to be a leader on the offense.
Huh? Well, look, hold on. He's a much better leader than Kirk Cousins. I feel like Kirk Cousins is the kind of guy who tries to do it, and everyone's just like, "Shut up," you know what I mean? And like, okay, like that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on to more topics. What's your early Super Bowl prediction for next week?
Well, if I'm listening to what my mind says right now, I would say that the Kansas will win the Super Bowl.
I would say so too.
Just because they are just too good. There's no other team right now in the NFL that is as great as the Kansas City Chiefs right now. But on the other hand, and I know it's gonna sound like that I believe in some conspiracy theories, but I do think that there's a great chance that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win the Super Bowl just because there's Tom Brady, and it's a great story, just a great story that he just left New England because he wanted to. And everybody said that he is just a system quarterback. And after that, he went into the Tampa Bay. They let them into the Super Bowl, and they will win it. End of story. Just because he's the GOAT right now. That's all. So that's why I say that they will win the Super Bowl, because I do believe that these stories have some kind of influence into the scores of the games.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Kansas City for no other reason than what I always say, because they have the cheapest, best quarterback. It's not just that Mahomes is the best; he's the cheapest, best. His extension doesn't kick in until next year, and as long as he's on this deal, it's like they have an extra $40 million in cap space than the Bucks. It's not a fair playing field. They have an extra franchise player on their team. His name is Patrick Mahomes. They don't have to pay for him. So that's an advantage. Next year, I don't know that Kansas City is going to be this super team. They might be just another excellent or another very good team. Next year, the team that comes out of hey, how about this? An early Super Bowl prediction for next year. Who's going to be in it? That's more interesting. Who do you think before anything happens, before this Super Bowl happens, before free agency and the draft happens? No one's going to hold you to it. No one's going to hold you to it. But name two teams.
Well, I do think that if Tom Brady stays with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will be there.
I kind of feel the same way too. I feel like it's still going to be Tampa.
There. And the Bills.
I was going to say the Bills too. That's what I'm saying. I think the Bills are going to be the next team in the AFC. I think they're going to be really good next year. They still have a cheap Josh Allen. They should be able to add a couple more players. The Bills. Another dark horse team, and I'd mention them if I had any respect for their head coach, and I don't. But Arizona Cardinals, year 3 of Kyler Murray, that team was just getting started this year. That's another team to look at. But I really don't think that head coach is any good. I actually think they're going to underachieve again, and he'll get fired. They'll miss the playoffs. But they should be very talented. So we'll see. They might win in spite of him.
Yeah, I do think that they are dark horse, but maybe the Colts can be there if they can get a great quarterback or draft a great quarterback this offseason. I do think that they have a chance as well.
Sure, maybe the Chargers, year 2 of Justin Herbert playing really well. It's possible. These teams that have young quarterbacks that are cheap and good, Cleveland might be better next year. You know, who knows? But not the Niners.
Nope.
Not the Niners. No.
I don't see how we can get into the Super Bowl next year.
It's looking tough. Now, real quick, if you joined us late, we mentioned that we think the Rams messed up, and we don't think that they're currently 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl next year. They're not going to win the Super Bowl next year. They have $42 million committed to their quarterback position. Not one guy, but 2. And one of them isn't on the team. Jared Goff is actually more expensive for the Rams next year than Stafford. Goff cost him 22 in dead money. Stafford cost him 20 in alive money. Anyway, they're not going anywhere. They're paying for like 6 players, and one of them isn't on their team. So the NFC West is still open. The NFC is still open. All these great quarterbacks, really, the young ones on rookie deals are in the AFC. Herbert, Allen, Jackson. Soon to be next year, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence and whoever Miami and the Jets take.
To be honest, I don't think that the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens is any good.
Yeah.
He is just a running back, in my opinion, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he is as great as a quarterback. And I do think that in 1 or 2 years, Baltimore Ravens will draft another quarterback for them.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What would you do if you were Baltimore? This guy's won an MVP. He's taken you to the playoffs 3 times. He's still 20-something, 3. His contract will be up after next year. What do you do? What do you do?
Well,
I know what I would do.
If the Baltimore Ravens can force their game into another team, then Lamar is good. If they can stay in their comfort zone, then they are good. But I do think that Lamar has way more weak spots than it is manageable in the playoffs.
I think that's fair. He's a very good quarterback. He'll take you to the playoffs. A lot of teams would be an upgrade for a lot of teams. I'd trade him. I would trade him
as well.
I'll trade him. Good quarterback, but to bring this back, to wrap a bow, to put a bow on this conversation, what we said earlier, the Matthew Stafford trade kind of messed up the market a little bit. If Matthew Stafford's getting 2 firsts and a third, what is Lamar Jackson getting? More than that. Yeah, I'd trade him and draft a guy like Kellen Mond, who, again, he's not as good as Lamar Jackson, and he's probably not good enough, but at least you're not paying him $35 million a year. At least you're just moving on and trying to find someone cheaper. Botan, I'm going to let you go in a minute. We have one more question. Jonas says, is Derek Carr available? What can we offer the Raiders for him?
Well, I don't think that Derek Carr is available right now.
I don't think he is.
I know that there were some voices that they have a messed up relationship with Chucky, but after this season, I don't mind that the Raiders would let him go.
The problem with the reason I don't think Carr's available is he's not that expensive. He's not particularly expensive. I think he's at 9-point-something% of the cap for the Raiders. They don't need to get rid of him. And moving him wouldn't save them that much money. His contract is kind of structured like Garoppolo's. So it seems like they'll hold on to him. He's a good bridge quarterback until they get some guy they like. And they're not really in a position to draft anyone who's going to take over and start next year. That's the thing. I'm watching more and more of these quarterbacks, and you like some, you don't like some. It doesn't matter who you like. What I feel is that other than Trevor Lawrence, none of these guys are ready to start next year.
Nope.
None of them. So you better have a bridge. You better have a vet that you like enough, because Mac Jones isn't starting for you week 1. Justin Fields isn't starting for you week 1. Kellen Mond is not starting for you week 1. Maybe by week 10, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe week 2, maybe year 2, maybe year 3. So you got to have that vet. I don't know who it is. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a very good-looking quarterback. I mean, he's handsome. Charlie says, is it possible to add Ryan in the offseason while simultaneously improving the offensive line? The thing with trading for Ryan is that he doesn't really save the Niners much money.
Nope.
Because I think he'd cost them about $23 million, but the Niners have about $2.8 million in dead cap from getting rid of Jimmy. So it's about a wash in terms of money. You don't really save much money. But he's better than Jimmy. He's better.
And we haven't talked about that, but it's not just the O-line. We have right now so many other needs because, to be honest, 3/4 of our team is free agent.
That's right.
So
that's what people don't understand, Botan. This team is not one quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. It was like a year ago, 2 years ago. Now it's not. Now it's a quarterback, an offensive line, and a defensive backfield away.
Yep.
Right?
That's so true. That's the sad truth about
so
this.
They could trade everything for Deshaun Watson, but what does that prove? You're still short a secondary and an O-line with no cap space and picks to get it. What did you just do? You became Houston.
But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of signing or trading for Deshaun Watson. But with him, we would have tons of more money to spend on other players.
Next
So
year.
right now, what I do think of is our greatest chance to be in the playoffs next season, or maybe in the Super Bowl, is with Deshaun Watson.
Agree.
With
Now,
him,
what happens after that, 2021, I don't know. But in 2021, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, whoever gets Watson next year, that I didn't mention that. We were talking about who's going to be in the Super Bowl next year. How about whichever team gets Watson? He's floating out. What if the Colts get Deshaun Watson next year?
they will be contenders instantly.
Instantly. Because again, his extension doesn't kick in until 2022. He's still cheap. Like Mahomes is this year. Mahomes got the extension in the offseason, but it doesn't kick in until next year. So he's still on this amazing bargain of a deal. That's Watson. So the Niners have to contend with this. It could be Houston. Well, if he's in Houston next year, no one's scared of Houston. Forget Houston. But if he moves, so we'll see.
Well, if he moves, then Colts, for example, can be instantly contenders. But there were some rumors that he would like to go to the Jets. Richard Sherman said that he should go to the Jets. But I don't think that the Jets can be contenders, even though they sign Deshaun Watson, because they have way more needs, even more needs than the 49ers has right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I mean, I understand Deshaun Watson wanting to play for a coach like Robert Saleh, certainly. Yep. But Deshaun, how much do you know about that offensive coordinator?
Nothing.
I'm saying, buddy, you might want to do some research on him. His name is Mike LaFleur. Look him up. Do we have any questions? Or if not, it's very late in Budapest, and it's pretty late here. It's nap time. No, I gotta write some articles about Kirk Cousins. What about Joe Flacco? No, I'm not answering that.
OMG.
Oh man. All right, Botan. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We are now Monday mornings with Botan. Vish is the afternoon.
Yep, usually at 10.
Yes. Usually at 10, but today we pushed it back.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll be back on in a few hours with Vish. And until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Botan, always a pleasure.
For me as well. Glad to be here, as always.
Of course. All right.
Have a nice day, America.